Hello. I feel like I'm in one of those cells, you know, when you're like stuck in a cell. Please help me. Please pay the $1 million to get me out of this hellhole. Okay, so welcome from Mexico City. I'm not in a hellhole. I'm not in a cell with the cartel. I don't need your money to get me out of this prison I'm in. The Matrix. Okay, so I'm in a funny mood. Okay, so we got a lot to discuss, and this is recorded, so you will get to rewatch it. Hello, Shrishti. So I was going to film in the living room, but I'm staying with this amazing person, and they're making food, so I want to leave them to it. So in this one, we're going to talk about The Witcher Upgraded. So The Witcher was the high-level soulmate, if you remember. So I want to discuss high-level soulmates. I have had a few soulmates, actually. I remember someone wrote recently, they're like, oh my god, I can't believe you're dating. When was that? And it's like, if you watch all the videos, I explain everything. I'm very transparent. My life is very an open book. I'm really well, thank you, Shrishti. So I'm going to talk about The Witcher, but I have had 3 other soulmates come in the past. And like I said, I've always said, if you chase them, then you're coming from a place of lack. But if they naturally come into your life, then that's fine. And I'll explain them and talk about them. I'll talk about wasted potential. I'll also talk about why I'm not in union, because someone was like, you're not in union, and why should we listen to you, blah, 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 blah. And I get a really good comment answer for that. And then I've had some people for the one of the videos where I talked about soulmates saying that, oh, if you listen to Sim, the person I recommended, then and like attacking me and stuff, which is fine. You know, like I say, all these things are just labels. They are stories from the mind, and I'm actually trying to smash us out of the box of the labels and get us beyond that, because actually the universe is abundant, and if it's not this, it'll be something better. So I'll talk about that, and I'll talk about how soul connection goes deeper than the ego, and how we can learn to like basically forgive people. And then finally, doing what you want, when you want, not when others want. So we'll go through all of that. There's lots to update on since last time. Things are always moving back and forth. So let's get into it. So first of all, I want to talk about the fact that I have had 4 soulmates come in the last 2 years. I haven't mentioned them before because I didn't want to bring that up. But with The Witcher, I did explain stuff because it was a high-level soulmate, and I wanted my followers to realize that you can have connections almost as deep as the twin flame, and better than that stuff that goes on with the running and the chasing, as in 3D. You can have that 3D experience, which is better at first. And then we'll talk more through it. So, okay, the first person I had come in as a soulmate was on my Abraham Hicks cruise in Hawaii, which was about, a year ago, I think, in September, October. Now, this person is Polynesian, so they're Hawaiian, and I wasn't expecting it, you know. I used to wear a wedding ring, but I don't wear it no more because the shop is open for divine connections to come through, because I've said I've stopped waiting for my twin flame, right? I'm happy alone, but if anyone else comes in, then great. If not, there's something better. So anyway, I was on an Abraham Hicks cruise, and there was someone who kind of caught my eye, very attractive, looking a bit like Jason Momoa, and I was like, okay. And they were on the hot seat. If you know about Abraham Hicks, you'll know people get chosen. And Abraham Hicks was like, so I always end up attracting very unusual, strange, spiritual, out of the box people, very unique. Okay, so they went on this guy went on stage, and Abraham was saying, we have never met anyone like you. You are the first person, and we've talked to thousands, millions of people, but thousands I'd say, and you are very unique because you are the first person we've met on earth who is 50% in the non-physical realm, like connected with the non-physical spirits and angels and the universe, and 50% on earth. Like, you basically switch between the two, and scattered focus. Okay, scattered focus. Now, this person could basically look at a tree and, without studying, tell you everything about the structure, the DNA, all the kind of things, and connect with spirit and all sorts. Very fascinating, interesting individual. And every single soulmate I have met has mirrored where my twin flame was at the moment. So this person was doing a lot of running, and we only were like together for like 2 weeks. Like, I have a 2-week limit. Something happens after 2 weeks, they come in, they go out, okay? Now the second one was after Abraham Hicks' cruise this March in Caribbean, and this person lives in Florida. They were the neighbor to where I was staying with my friend, and there was loads of signs and synchronicities, and this person just invited me for a tea, a coffee, whatever, and we started talking, and then something like started. Now what's interesting is, if you have followed me for a while, and we are very transparent on this channel, I had been working on sexual distortions. If you remember, I went to a strip club, a male strip club. I never knew that I was going to this strip club. My friend took me, and I talked about this. What happened in the strip club was crazy. But basically, if you know my twin flame journey, you will know that my twin flame was extremely toxic, extremely distorted, was doing a lot of pornographic content all over the internet, fully naked, and selling content too, sexual content, which I found very triggering, and I was trying to heal and figure out. And before I continue the story about this second soulmate, I want to say that not all divine masculines are as toxic and distorted as mine. Some divine masculines are spiritual, are awakened, and are kinder, right? I unfortunately had, less so have now, because my twin flame has stopped doing the crazy madness finally. And like I've said in the previous videos, now after that gave me post-traumatic stress, 2 years of seeing them fully naked on the internet and flirting with everyone and sleeping with everyone, taking drugs. And so I was struggling to forgive, and I was very angry and had a lot of issues with that, and been working on that with the plant medicine. And basically the last soulmate that came in helped me to get rid of that pain of like not forgiving my twin flame. But anyway, we digress. So some DMs are not as bad, okay? So it's easier to kind of like merge with them. There were other issues in play, but some DMs have done their inner work, or they have done some of it. My twin flame had done jack all, nothing. A lot of ancestral issues, a lot of personal issues, a lot of abuse issues, whatever, which made him act out in very distorted ways. So I was trying to understand sexual distortions, where it was coming from me. And when I arrived in Florida after the cruise, basically I saw a picture of my twin flame's friend. Like a lot of his, not a lot, some people that, well, one of his friends does OnlyFans and pornographic content and all that kind of stuff. And I was kind of like very judgmental about this. But then I saw that person do a lot of human rights related posts on Palestine and women's rights and LGBT, and I thought, you know what? Even sluts and whores deserve love. And if you have followed me on this journey, you will realize I did a live on that, I did a video on that, even sluts and whores deserve love, and I talked about Jesus and Mary Magdalene and Buddha and all those things like that, about how we have to kind of, because the divine masculine represents the material world, and a lot of divine feminines reject the material world, reject money, reject sex, reject, all that kind of stuff, whereas the DM's kind of the yin to your yang. So I was in the shower, I saw this friend, I think it's his cousin, basically posting the human rights stuff, and I thought, you know what, even sluts and whores deserve love. And I go to Florida every March, and I go to a normal bar or club, and all of a sudden my friend who lives there was like, I'm going to take you to a place. And I was like, okay, let's go. And when we arrived there, I was like, what is this? I've never paid for sex, never received money for sex, and will never do so. And I've never been into a strip club, never. And the universe was kind of trying to open me up, and I've been trying to open you lot up too, because some of you, I'll give you a trigger warning, some of you may be triggered by this stuff, and some of you have been triggered. When I did my underwear picture in March, you were like, some of you reported this channel, because I'm trying to also trigger you out of your restrictions to do with sex and money and the 3D world, because that's what your DM's trying to trigger. So I was trying to understand like why people do these things. Anyway, so we went into the strip club, if you remember, and I saw the first person on the stage was a carbon copy of my twin flame stripping. And then all the strippers talked to me, and that stripper came up to me and told me that he was a yoga teacher, and the fact that he only strips because of COVID, he lost his yoga studio, he's trying to make that money, he's had 2 Kundalini awakenings. And I was really surprised that, you know what, start to see people as human beings rather than just what they are doing as a profession. So all the strippers spoke to me, and I got to know them and whatever else. I won't get into more details. And then anyway, so when I went back to the place where I was staying in Florida, in Fort Lauderdale, the neighbor invited me, very beautiful, attractive. I tend to attract very beautiful, attractive men, okay? I have a type, and some people say that's superficial, but I think you can have it all, okay? So I tend to go for tall, muscular, very typically beautiful, but also spiritual, also kind, loving, gentle souls. Like, I try to go for the full package. Anyway, so he invited me for tea and coffee, and then we started talking, and there was chemistry, there was connection, and I could tell there was like some sort of like soul tie there. But he mentioned how he would do escorting, which is like prostitution, and how his ex got him involved in that, and all the stuff he did sexually, which I was kind of shocked about at first, but I knew that the universe was trying to open my mind to stop judging these people, because my twin flame was doing all this stuff as well, right? So I know it's hard to hear this maybe, because some of your twin flames, you moan and complain about them, but they're not as bad as some of the DMs are really horrific, and I would say mine was one of the horrific ones. Anyway, so basically I learned about a lot of things from that, and I did live on that, and you might have watched it. I saved it, you can watch it again. There you go. So that was the second one. And then the third soul mate I kind of met was in Alaska in July. Again, not using any dating apps, just like living my life, and then feeling a connection with this person. And again, so the first one was running, the second one was dealing with sexual distortions, and this one was dealing with his own sexual abuse. So everything was always mirroring the things that my DM was going through. And I learned a lot from that too. Again, all of these lasted maximum 2 weeks. They didn't last that long, but it gave me what I needed. Now, the current one that I met in Brazil was a conscious choice, because if you remember, after ayahuasca and Mapachu told me, the tobacco, that I need to date divine men, and I need to stop waiting around for my twin flame. It's not healthy. So I have consciously, so I'll tell you all, I am consciously dating others. The shop is open. There is no longer a ring around the finger, okay? So that's when I met the Brazilian guy who I was with again for 2 weeks, but he lives in Brazil and now I'm in Mexico City. So with the Brazilian guy, what was interesting, so I'll tell you something interesting about myself. I see past lives. I can also read your hand, along with all the other things like the light codes and all the coaching and the healing that I can do. I do a lot of things, okay? So with this person, straight away I knew there was a past life connection. But usually when I meet someone, it takes me a few days, a week to understand the past life, where it was. Like, it comes downloads for me. With the twin flame, it was instant. All the lives, all the future, it was instant, okay? Now, with this person, they are a psychic, a medium, and a witcher. Now, witchers tend to seek out, I never knew much about witchers apart from the Netflix series, but they seek out monsters. Why do they seek out monsters? Because they feel like the world is a dangerous place and they're looking for evil stuff. Whereas we, as twin flames, we are of light, especially divine feminine. We are connected with God, just like that. So we don't even focus on the negative stuff because we are just positive and light. Anyway, the past life I have with this person is from the 16th century in India. He was my husband, I was the wife, and I had a child and I died in a miscarriage. And he introduced me to his friend, and she was like, straight away, she's very spiritual, a lot of followers on Instagram on doing spiritual work. And basically, she was my child. And there was so many synchronicities and parallel lives. So I said with my DM, it's like basically we have the same life but opposite. But with this person, it was the same life and everything was the same. We're interested, all the interests and everything. It was so crazy. And this person is also autistic. Now, autistic people have generally issues with sexuality, being asexual, sexual. They also have issues with communication, anxiety, feeling safe, and all that kind of stuff, which I didn't know much about, but I have learned since. So with this person, the connection was out of this world, right? Not as the twin flame connection. The twin flame connection is like spiritual, and I'm not in my body, especially when we're getting intimate. Whereas this person, it is 3D, and I would go as far as it's the best. It was the best sexual experience connection that I've had with a person, in the sense of connectivity. And as we were getting intimate, there was a point where basically I felt like it went on every dimension of reality. We connected on some level, and I was trying to understand that, because if you remember with my twin flame, when we get intimate, my kundalini rises, my chakras go bam 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 bam, time stops, it's angelic light, I go out of the body, I go in the astral world, the cosmos, and I'm not on earth. He has more of a physical experience, whereas I don't even know what's happening. I'm not feeling my body. So for me, I can't say that's the best sexual experience, because I'm not actually feeling my physical body. I'm having a spiritual experience. Whereas with the Witcher guy, it was a physical sexual experience and a connection on every level. And it was amazing, actually. And he kept saying the fact that, you know what, normally he cannot communicate with people, especially in his own language in Portuguese, but with me, he feels so comfortable and can connect, and it's easy, he doesn't feel lonely anymore, and he's never met anyone like me. He can see. So, like I said, with the first one, he could see all the crystalline the structures of things and go through them, whereas this one can see your sacred geometry of people, right? And he said to me, I've never met anyone as complex with the geometry as you, like he has. And also the fact that there's no, my energy just flows and there's no restrictions. And the fact that he doesn't need to do anything. I think he's used to saving people and trying to like fix people, right? Now, us as twin flames, we are very old souls. It's our last life. We know this. And our structures, our body, it's very complex because we have lived so much, right? And we, as divine feminines, we do flow that godly energy. And in the last video, if you remember, I talked about the fact that the Witcher said that being next to me was like being in a holy church, which is kind of crazy, a bit weird, because my twin flame, I believe, feels like I'm a holy temple, and he feels worthless and a sinner, and therefore does not want to be near me. So the divine feminine, that's something we have to kind of like grasp with. Now, when the energy went on every dimension, which I've not had before with anyone, I was thinking, what was that? Was that an exchange of light codes or what? Now, I did speak to my psychic friend and another friend who's psychic, but I understood things myself. I downloaded it myself anyway, but I got confirmation. It's called Shakti Pact, which I've never talked about before, but I've talked about the tantric battery effect, which is similar to that, okay? So us as twin flames, especially as divine feminine, we are connected with God, and we are the upper chakras, and we basically can bring light into a person's body. And that can be overwhelming for them and too much. And we're basically healing them. And we do that through sex. We do that through being next to them. And so basically, that was going on. And initially in Sao Paulo, it was very, very an amazing experience. The connection was there. And then we went to Rio, and this person was like I said, breakfast in bed and holding hands and hugging and talking for hours and kissing and being very affectionate and opening doors and doing everything which I never had before. And he said, I'm showing you how you should be treated, basically, because you should be treated like this or better. But what seemed to happen was this person was overthinking a lot, I believe, and then the sexual chemistry from my side was fine, but from their side was basically depleted or gone. Now, you could say, again, with being autistic, the sexual energy can be asexual, then sexual. But then also with our energy of divine feminine, the light that comes through can be quite scary for people. Because I mentioned the people I dated recently, they all said to me, you're innocent, you're pure, you're divine, or whatever they said, all these kind of like things, but not everyone can understand us. So a lot of people are attracted to our energy as twin flames because we are of light, we are of higher consciousness, right? But some people out there who are more evolved can see that. So he saw me as a holy church, because he felt the purity as an angel, he said as well. So I was trying to like understand that. I was like, what is with the sexual chemistry? And he said he felt sexually fulfilled just by holding my hand and being next to me, and we didn't need to go any further, which is a blow to me because I like to be intimate. Anyway, so it was interesting because he felt that energy. Now with your twin flame, with your DM, if you have been intimate, you will notice that I've been intimate with my twin flame twice, but after that so much energy is exchanged that separation has to happen so that everything can heal and ground. Otherwise, if you keep doing it, it blows the circuits out. The tantric battery effect can blast, and you can have a separation for a long period. So the DMs tend to know when to like take step back, and that's why we have separation. And so with the Witcher, he still carried on being affectionate and like hugging and kissing and holding hands, which I found kind of strange, because I'm thinking, if you're not interested, if from your side there's no sexual chemistry, which I can't understand, because in Sao Paulo we had a lot of sexual chemistry and it was great. So what changed within a few days? It was basically because of the energy, right? But we did talk about like past relationships. I talked about my twin flame, which again would have caused jealousy, which would have caused sort of a little bit of fear. But the Witcher would have felt the energy of the twin flame anyway, because he is connected with the spirit realm. But I was very concrete to say that for 2 years I was in a connection with someone that was very spiritual but toxic, and after ayahuasca I have decided, and this will lead into the second one, why I'm not in union, that I don't want to be with my twin flame. I don't actually want to be with someone because I find it challenging right now. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, to be with someone who was so rude to me and did a lot of pornographic content. Like, I find it very challenging to get over that. And personally, I would rather have a high-level soulmate who I can do my mission on Earth with. Now, my psychic says that you won't get as much peace as you do with your twin flame with anyone else. But for 2 years, I had no peace, and I had post-traumatic stress disorder, and I kind of don't want to even go there. Now, the Witcher said that he felt so much peace with me, and that he's never cooked for someone before. Normally people cook for him, and he feels like taking care of me. And I mentioned on these travels, everywhere I go, I get taken care of. People look after me. I'm staying right now with a gay guy, and I feel like there's a soulmate connection with him, but he's like making me smoothies and all sorts and taking care of me, and this is a divine feminine energy. Anyway, so the Witcher was saying all these things, but then contradicted it in Rio by saying, the first few days in Rio was great, but then it just went downhill when I started asking for more intimacy, and started to change his tune to say, oh, I hug and kiss all my friends, or I basically feel connections with all the people I date, which is not true, because he's mentioned how he had communication issues with people and no one ever understood him, and how he wanted to basically not be on Earth because of that, because felt so isolated and alone, and how the autism affects him, and he's been a people pleaser and all this and that and the other and whatever else. So I listened to what he had to say, and he's like, he went to God on the beach, and he spoke to God, and this is not a sexual relationship connection, we are brothers, and we are basically a soul family, and he's going to help me with my mission, and blah 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 blah. And I didn't really buy that, because I could tell that there was sabotage and blocks going on. And especially, he had put me on a pedestal, which a lot of the DMs do as well, right? They do, all of them do it. Thinking that, you know what, my energy's clear, I'm complex with my vibration, I'm high, I'm positive, I don't need anything from anyone else. What would I want from him? He felt insecure, right? Because he had got no money, very similar to DMs, no money, in and out of like insecurities and all that kind of stuff. Like, what does Manny want from me? Like, you're a holy temple. Now, it can be a curse sometimes being a DF, because you're seen as you're seen as Mary Mother Mary, right? So who wants to sleep with Mother Mary? You're like a goddess, you're like a saint. Saints don't have sex, do they? So I try to explain that sex is not unholy, Because through sex that's how we heal, right? We turn sex into divine energy, and we can alchemize that. Whether there's guilt or shame to do with the religion or whatever else is going on with the distortion, sex can be a real, it is a healing mechanism, right? So all this is going on, and it obviously makes you feel a bit weird when you've met someone for the first time who gave you a glimmer of hope that you can be with a connection that's high level, rather than stay around waiting for a toxic twin flame. Which obviously is mirroring my issues, and I'm working on them, and etc, etc. But now for me it's like, how can I get over what happened for 2 years? Because I wouldn't let anyone treat me that way. Anyway, so I went to the beach, and I connected with Source myself, and I got downloads to say the sexual chemistry is there, the connection is there, this person is scared, they're sabotaging, they're running away. They will, because the Witcher talked about how he was going to come to England, come to Bali, and come to see me on the Abraham X cruises, and blah blah blah, and I should move to Rio. So there was all that, hot and then cold. Yes, and also he didn't have money either, which is very similar to the DMs. And so basically the downloads I got was the fact that this person would visit me everywhere, and they are running right now because they're scared, but that they will eventually want to be with me, but I'm going to reject them because I'm going to choose the twin flame, which I don't want to choose. But San Pedro, the cactus, said the same thing, that I was going to end up with my twin flame. Even ayahuasca said, and tobacco, I'm going to end up with him, and eventually, but in the meantime I can date others. Well, I let the universe do whatever it's going to do, because nothing's in my control, which is annoying actually. Because there is free will, but then there's divine will, and then there's this soul tie. And I did say to the Witcher that I don't like the fact that I'm connected to this person, and I don't want to be. Like, I actually don't want to be connected. I want to just like be done with that if I could. And if you remember, when I downloaded the dating app, it broke on my phone, and I had to buy a new phone. And then when I was going to meet up with the Witcher, my WhatsApp got blocked for some reason, and I didn't have access. And it was like the universe or whatever was doing all the tricks to basically stop me being with other people. And I'll give you a little story. When I went to Rome the second time to see my twin flame, and he didn't bother to see me any of the times I've been, I chose to go on a date. Because I thought, you know what, I'm in Rome, and this is in the beginning, when I just after met my twin flame, like literally after the honeymoon period, during the honeymoon period. So I was going to go on a date, and I started to cross the road. And there was a big tree, and I thought I'd duck under the tree to cross the road. As I ducked under the tree, I didn't realize, but the tree had these like long branches, which were kind of like sharp, like a knife, and it went into my head. And I thought I was fine, but the blood just kept dripping, and I had a hole in my forehead. So I was frantic, looking around, where am I? And the street name was the name of my twin flame. My twin flame's name is Ricardo, and the street name was called Riccardo Riccardi. So I was being blocked from going on this date. And then I called my twin flame, he didn't answer, he texted me what's happening. I was like, this is happening, like, I think I need a hospital, like, what do I do? Anyway, I went to the pharmacy, and they stitched me up, and they sorted me out. But since it's been 2 years, my twin flame has never asked me, how's your head? Has it healed? Did you have concussion? Did you get stitches? Never. Didn't give a shit, basically, about that. So like the WhatsApp got blocked, the dating app got blocked, and all sorts happening. I had to get a new phone. And today I've seen my twin flame's name, oh my God, so many times. The taxi driver picked me up. I went to the museum today, and I met one of my followers, an amazing Mexican girl. And the taxi driver's name was Ricardo, and then she drove me around, and they said Ricardo on the everywhere, and oh God, it's just like, it follows you around, doesn't it? And I just learned to let it go. She asked me an interesting question. She's like, why do you travel so much? So after lockdown, I got a download to say that I need to spread my light around the world. And since lockdown, I've been traveling everywhere. And you will notice that I do travel everywhere. Next year, I'm traveling to the Caribbean, Bali, Scandinavia, Rio, Buenos Aires, and I don't know where else. But basically, I'm telling you that because I'm bringing it all back together. So The Witcher also lied about certain things. And for me, there's like a boundary issue where basically, if someone lies and I know it, I cannot really be friends with them because he wants to be friends or help me with my sole purpose and mission on earth, because he's very mission oriented too and very obsessed with God. Someone who's very obsessed with God means that they're not really connected with God, I believe. They're in and out, otherwise you just are connected, right? And obviously as divine feminine, our energy is very potent and powerful. So yeah, he lied about things, and I really cannot do business or humanitarian stuff, helping the world with people who lie. It's a boundary issue for me. But my psychic said that he's teaching me how to be flexible, how to forgive, and how to basically, what the DM does basically, and to learn how to stay in 0 point and balance no matter what is happening outside and around me. And he will come in and out, and I just have to mentor and help him, because drum roll, the Witcher is a twin flame. He did ask in the beginning, like, have I met my twin flame before? And he mentioned the things, and it didn't add up. So it was like, no. And he's like, I wonder if I should meet my twin flame. And I was like, I don't recommend it, because it's a difficult journey. But for some, it's easy if you've done the work. Now, the Witcher has extreme issues with intimacy, being vulnerable, always playing a chameleon, or trying to please others and playing not themselves. But with me, he is himself. So it's very scary to be yourself with someone, right? When you haven't ever been that way. And we believe that the Witcher, me and my psychic, has had a very abusive life, but also in other dimensions, and is obsessed with like finding a monster. And with the DF, you can't find a monster, because we are of light, and we don't react, and we don't get into the dramas, and we don't need fixing, because the Witcher wants to fix people. Anyway, so basically, the Witcher is a twin flame, but a divine masculine. And I talked about me being told that I have to go around the world and spread the light. So to meet a high-level soulmate is quite rare. When you ascend as a DF and you get to a certain level of light, you will meet a lot of high-level soulmates. So that was the one. So yes, I'll talk about abundance in a second. But basically, my mission was with him to light him. So with the Shakti pack, with the energy that was put into him, it was to ignite him, to prepare him for his DF. I read his hand. It shows the relationships. The one that is with me now is there, but then there's also one at 42, which I believe when he's going to meet his DF. So it's very interesting. So there you go. But with the Hawaiian guy, and also with the guy who was doing escorting, and the third guy, and this guy, all the guys, all the soulmates have a lot of wasted potential, because their energy is very scattered and not focused. Not very good with money, because it's the DM energy again. So when I was saying that I'm learning to be flexible and grounded no matter what is happening around, person's coming in and out, in and out. Personally, I don't like someone who's coming in and out, like the DM comes in and out. My DM doesn't come in and out. He came in and then he left, and I haven't had anything for 2 years. But some of you have a lot of that weaving going on, and I'll talk about why I'm not getting the weaving and why I'm not in union in a second. But what I have learned from this experience is the soul connection is deeper than the ego. So the person may be lying, sabotaging, acting crazy, but when there is a deep soul connection and love, you see all beyond that rubbish and crap. And that's the same with the twin flame, with the DM. They will be doing all the nonsense and tricks to trigger you and sabotage because of their own issues. But because the love is so deep, you see beyond the ego, and that's how you forgive them. I've also realized that the universe is abundant. The old me would have been like, oh my God, this is like one of the best connections I've had since my twin flame, and it's rare and I should hold on to it. It is rare to find a high-level soulmate, but once you get to that level as a DF, you will just meet high-level soulmates, high-level soulmates, high-level soulmates. And like I said, I think I'm living with one of them right now. And basically, the universe is abundant. It's, if not this, then something better. So do not get hooked onto the divine masculine twin flame. Do not get hooked onto a high-level soulmate. So The Witcher was an amazing experience. However, the sexual chemistry was not there because of self-sabotage and the high-level light that we have. So let it go. Don't be caught up on just this one individual. And yes, you might see signs of the DM, but don't get caught up. See it and let it go, and keep focusing on yourself, and know that the universe can bring into your life any moment, any place, the right people, and there's an abundance of this. It's not just one. There's not lack. If you think about lack, then you'll have lack in all areas of life, including money and partners and other things like that. Your DM twin flame might not be ready, or they might have done so many things that you don't want them. But do not get caught up on that. There's only one, high level soulmate. There's no others. There's plenty. And I'm actually trying to get us all out of these boxes and labels, twin flame and high level soulmates and this and that and lack and boxes and how a lot of the twin flame coaches and psychics and readers and tarot readers talk about things like you are almost like a death sentence and jailed and locked up. Like I talked about, if you start from the beginning and you've missed a bit of it, like, I'm in a cell right now in Mexico. I'm not. And you got to free me because it looks like I'm in one of those, right? You're not in a cell and you're not needing freeing. And there's freedom everywhere when you get out of the constructs of the matrix and the 3D labels, okay? So basically, even with the twin flame, they say you have one twin flame, yeah? How do we know that? We don't know that fully. Why don't we smash ourselves out of the boxes and the labels? Maybe there's more than one twin flame. I don't know. And this kind of contradicts from what I've talked about in the past. And I did say trigger alert, trigger warning, because some of you might be so hung up, caught up, stuck on that. He's the one. And I used to be like that too. But now I'm trying to loosen the model to be able to get out of that, to say, you know what, there are divine connections and they're infinite and abundant. Think about all the lives you've had. You might say, but the twin flame, nothing's going to be same as that. I've talked about it. Disneyland experience. You're not going to have Disneyland every day. Now the Disneyland is running. The Disneyland is not with you. And then some people say, if you date, then they're going to date and mirror, blah, blah, blah. Not necessarily. Sometimes your energy needs to be diverted. We're all going through unique experiences. Sometimes you need to focus on yourself and learn how to experience divine love. The Witcher showed to me how I should be treated. I should have doors open and food made and taken care. I obviously do a lot too. In every relationship, I've always done a lot that way. Okay. So you should do what you want, when you want, and not what others want. That's another thing I realized as well. So if you are in alignment, if you are living in your abundance and you're realizing that the universe is abundant, full of choices that you want, there are many divine partners out there for you on varying degrees of frequency, and that's okay. And therefore, if someone says to you, I've got to see you now, right now, and that's the only time I've got, and if you're not ready and you're not feeling it, say no. Learn to realize that the universe has a divine plan and things will synchronistically slot into place when you allow it, and you don't need to jump. If your DM say something, you don't need to jump. If they say, I need to meet you now, and you don't want to, feel what you want to feel in the moment. And if it feels right to you, do it. If it doesn't, you're not going to miss out. I've said it before as well, that you can't fuck up the journey. It's always your journey, your life journey, not the twin flame journey, your life journey. You can't mess it up. Everything is synchronistic, and there's always another option, and there's always another chance for you to do what you want, okay? So the last thing I want to talk about is why I'm not in union. So there's many different things about that. I was going to maybe talk about my twin flame a little bit more, how he's feeling about me being with another person or having met someone, but I don't want to go into that because I don't really care so much about other people's perceptions anymore, because we have to focus on what is self-love for you right now. Self-love for you might be to be celibate alone, but self-love might be for you to experience divine love from someone else, and that's okay, without thinking about what are they doing and how's it going to impact them. They never thought about the impacts on you, and you got to learn to be self-full. You don't have to say selfish, you can say self-full, self-focused, okay? Self-focused, what do you want? How do you want to live your life? How do you want to eat? How do you want to sleep? How do you want to date? What do you want to do? Think about yourself, you know? So, yes, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about why I'm not in union, okay? So someone asked me the question, well, a couple of people are like, why should we follow you if you're not in union, blah, 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 and all that, and then why I'm not in union. So if I was in union right now, I would not have the impetus or the motivation to create content necessarily, because in the beginning stages of union, you are fixing and resolving a lot of stuff. The energy is quite intense, but also you are having your honeymoon time and your romantic time. often you'll be having a lot of sex and you'll be in the bedroom, you will be isolating, you'll be working on balancing your energy and grounding, and you'll be too busy in that loved up stuff, right? So if I was in union right now, I wouldn't create content. So sometimes God or the universal source creates separation in order for you to be able to, some coaches, because some coaches are in separation, to be able to basically create that content. Some coaches who are in union create content, but they created it ages after they were in union. They've been in union for a long time, so they have grounded the energy and it's easier for them to talk about stuff now. Whereas I started, if you remember correctly, 9 months into my journey, and I've only been on the journey for 2 years. So you've kind of, it's like a real time what's going on, and things I say may change and evolve, and I may switch. Like me talking about dating other men, I have talked about that before, and I said you can do what you want as long as you're doing it from a place of love. Again, you don't need to listen to what I'm saying. Some people have said, oh, but that contradicts blah blah blah. Listen to your own intuition. What I'm saying might be total nonsense and rubbish, okay? And it's my own perspective. I'm trying to smash out of the twin flame box. I realize there's more out of the box, because when I did ayahuasca, I talked about this, we can be imprisoned in prison, in these little labels and boxes, and we need to smash ourselves out of it and see the bigger picture and see what else is out there, rather than staying stuck in the same loop. So that's number one. Is if I was in union, I probably wouldn't create content. And also, I'm very early on in my journey. 2 years is not a long time. I met my twin flame in October 2022. It's 2024 now, right? So, and also my twin flame was very, very toxic, doing pornographic content and doing all that stuff that I've mentioned, which I don't want to get into. Also, I had post-traumatic stress disorder. I was making content, and at times I wanted to kill myself, but I was still creating the content. And now I'm dealing with the after effects of all that trauma and learning how to forgive and move forward. So I'm not really ready, and I'm actually in my energy running away from the connection. And then finally, also, I decided I don't want to be in union, okay? Right now, I don't want to be in union because of all that I've gone through, and I'd rather be, sometimes I say to myself, I'd rather drink poison than be in union. I'd rather see what else is out there. I'm happy to be by myself, but I'm also happy to see what other high-level connections are out there. Like I've said, my twin flame has zero spiritual awareness or insight or maturity, and whereas the Witcher was very spiritually mission-driven and awake. And I kind of only right now see myself doing my mission work in a relationship with an awakened person, not with a person who's knee deep in Maya, in the matrix, obsessed about sex, money, attention, validation, and all that kind of stuff, because I'm not in that vibration. So I'm consciously choosing not to be in union. I'm consciously choosing, and I know when I am internally running, I'm seeing more signs of synchronicities and all that kind of stuff. And I went on a date last night, and the guy was beautiful, gorgeous, it was amazing. But I did have a thought about my twin flame, or when obviously the Witcher has done a runner now, and we are brothers apparently, and I was thinking about, how would it be my twin flame? Because the sexual chemistry and the energy with the twin flame is always explosive, whereas with soulmates it can die out. But then when I reflect about, and I look at my twin flame social media, and I see all the pornographic content, and I see all the things on there, I just think, how can I get over that? Now, if any of you have any suggestions, I'm more than happy to listen. But some of your divine masculines were not as bad as that. They may have had karmics, or they were acting a bit egotistical, but generally, you could get over it. And I would love for you to get over it. I would love as many of you to get into union, do your divine mission. Because yes, with your twin flame, you are the same soul level frequency. You'll have a lot of peace. You'll have a lot of love and sex and joy and happiness when you're grounded and balanced, yeah? So if your divine masculine wasn't that bad, and you want to be with them, I'm a soul supporter, and my page will continue to support those unions and ascension and joy. And for those who don't want to be in union, this is an option too, or want to date other people, I will continue to kind of balance that out too and smash us outside of these boxes of labels. But yes, if I was in union, I wouldn't be making content. Also, because God is using the separation for me, and I've had separation for 2 years. I've only ever heard from my twin flame in 2 years twice. Last year, July, when I emailed him, he said, please do not contact me anymore, you are scaring me. And then this year, for his birthday, he just wrote thanks. So I haven't had any contact with my twin flame. Some of you have weaving in and out, right? Because you're balancing your energy. But some of you have longer separations and then when they come in, it basically, you don't separate. It's like more balanced. So yeah, if I wouldn't be able to make content, and then also my twin flame was very toxic, and I'm purposely choosing not to be in union also because I don't want to be with a toxic person right now. I'm choosing myself, okay? So I'm choosing myself, I'm working myself, being happy, joyful, and if someone comes into my life who's divine and spiritual, I give it a chance. But so far from what you've heard, they last for 2 weeks. So not that long, but I'm learning a lot from it. And as it stands, I do not intend to be friends with the Witcher because I just don't want to be. Sometimes as a divine feminine, like, tell me if this is for you too. I feel like a zoo animal, okay? Someone who is watched or people are interested in because of the energy, the vibration, and the complex structure we have. And they want to learn from us, you know? And the Witcher was also putting me on a pedestal and, oh my God, like, you don't need anything. And then as soon as he realized that I wasn't perfect, like, he kind of like changed his tune. So I don't want to be seen as a object or an animal to be analyzed and observed. My psychic keeps saying that my twin flame is very innocent and is pure and, you know, blah, 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 and it'll be very peaceful. But I don't, if he's innocent, then I think everyone's innocent, because if someone was innocent, they wouldn't be doing the toxic things that were done against me. Because, you know, some of you say, oh, my twin flame, you know, the twin flame's unconscious, they don't know what they're doing. I get that. But my twin flame, I would actually message him and say, you know, be careful about this, and maybe you shouldn't be doing these sort of videos and pictures online because, you know, the future, think about the kids, think about your reputation. And he would purposely read that and then do even more sexual content to piss me off. So that was conscious, you know, and I don't know how someone gets over that. I don't know how he will get over that, and I don't know how he will have reconciliation with what he's done. But as it stands, the shop is open and I'm ready to see the world. I'm going to see if there's any questions. And, you know, I understand that everyone's going to have their own perspective, and everyone's going to say, this is the way to do it, and this is the way to do it, and we all know that. Again, it's stories, it's labels, it's boxes, and every twin flame journey is unique and different. Some are married, some are with karmics, some are with soulmates. I know twin flames who have chosen high-level soulmates and they've not chosen the twin flame. And I know twin flames who have chosen the twin flame. And that's fine. So I don't think there's one rule that is for everyone. And also, like I said, I'm trying to deconstruct the stories, deconstruct the labeling. And just because so-and-so coach says this and I say this, it doesn't mean that they are wrong or I am wrong. It's a perspective. And I think from the mind, we cannot understand anything and the connection. And we have to go beyond the mind, into the soul, into the heart. And whatever's going to be decided and happen is going to happen from that arena and that place. And we cannot logicalize scientifically or rationalize what's going to happen. The DM tries to do that all the time and overthink, and the DF does all the doubts and the overthinking too. But we cannot know for sure, because we are in our human vessel and we are operating from ego mind. And only once we have died, I assume. I know some people can channel and go beyond, but I really think that once we have actually passed and crossed over and we are connected with all that is and oneness and source, can we understand the multiple complexity of these issues. And, you know, like I said, right now I'm saying this and I don't know. Maybe in a couple of months, maybe, you know, because my psychic friend the other day, she said, you know, in 3 months, your twin flame's going to have a big Satori opening and triggering that's going to make him realize that you're the one, and doesn't come back and return. I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to react, and I don't know how I'm going to be then. Right now, this is how I feel. I'm being authentic with that, and I'm being very honest and open with where I'm on the journey, to be able to give you permission to be authentic and honest with your journey. And if you want to date, you want to sleep around, or you want to be celibate, or you want to be with a high-level soulmate or a karmic, or you want to be with a twin flame, or whatever you want to do, it's your free will and it's your choice. But maybe there's a divine plan in place that we cannot see. There will be a curveball that comes in, and that's fine. So this is how I feel right now, and it might change. So to say and impose one's view on another, to say this is how it's gonna be, maybe for you, But that's, again, an ego construct, spiritual ego. Let it be. So, okay, let me see if there's any questions. Hey, Lovelyn, but do what you want and what feels right for you in the moment. There is an abundance universe, and there's a lot of really nice, divine, masculine energies out there that you could be enjoying right now if you want to. But if you don't want to, it's fine. Let's see. It's generally just a lot of people joining. I'm surprised because it's very late, but maybe in some parts of the world it's not so late. Because in Mexico it's 10:18 p.m. Right. Gem, gold, and glow. We already have it all within. Infinite, internal, external. External is an illusion and distraction, duality game. Yes. I am magnetic, abundant. Wonderful. Oh, sorry for moving the thing. VJ says DM is a peek into the afterlife and what's in us. It's true. It shows us our true potentiality of the divine consciousness we are. Very good. Devotee of Radha Krishna. Celibacy is the only way of finally aligning with your soul and the Supreme. Again, I'll say, how do you know that? How do you know that? Like, why are we imposing all these things? When you respect yourself and others, reflect that, then you become a goddess you are. So, how is celibacy reflecting yourself? If you date a divine man, like I did, right? Who was cooking for me, holding my hand, opening doors, treating me like, an amazing person. How is that not treating myself with love and respect? How is that not being divine? How is that not, how can we all assume these things? We need to stop imposing and judging and coming from the mind to say, this is the way. And a lot of the coaches do that, right? You got to do this. And they feed on your fear. Because when you meet your twin flame, all your fear is activated from all your bodies, right? Your pain body, emotional body. And then you become quite frantic. And, I've got to do 28 yoga poses to get this. I've got to pay 28,000 to do this course. And I've got to pay this person to cut cords or heal the energy or do this or do that. I've done it all, right? These people lie. And they utilize and feed off your fear. Once your fear is gone and you're balanced, do what you want, And just because so-and-so coach says this and I say this and I should do this, and we don't impose. Do what you want. Live your life, be free, okay? Live your life and be free. Life is not about being stuck on one thing and one person. It's about doing what your heart desires now. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you choose to be with someone else, why not? Maybe it's just for now. Maybe in the future it will change. Do what feels right for you. And everyone is divine, okay? Everyone is a divine child of God. Even high-level soulmates. Even, karmics and soulmates. If you see the divinity in all, you can learn something from it. Somewhere or the other. Like I learned from The Witcher. I've learned to forgive my twin flame now. And I feel very neutral and balanced about it. Something has shifted and changed, which is good because I had a lot of... Yeah. Anyway, Poonam says it's not easy. The DM has a lot of learning to do. And sometimes they get upset. But we lead the journey and we are all human. Yeah, we are all human. I am fearless and free. There's a lot of stuff by Gem Glow. Okay. Poonam says, it's the social norms and conditions that we were taught at a young age. But follow your heart. I agree. So I'm going to kind of end with that. I explained a lot of stuff. And I've been always very honest about my journey. And I hope by being honest and authentic, it allows you to stop punishing yourself, restricting yourself, feeling you have to be this way. You want to be free. You want to be liberated. You want to be in love. You want to be in peace. You want to be in joy. You want to be in abundance, knowing that everything you want is out there for you. You don't want to be punishing yourself. Some people may think that celibacy is punishment, but maybe it's not, and that's fine. We don't judge it, but think for yourself, for you as person. What does your heart desire? How does it sing? 2222 on the clock. What feels right for you? What does liberation? For me right now, if I focus on my heart's desire, not listening to any twin flame material and coaches and psychics and tarot readers and so and I'm going to end up with this and that, you should do this and you should be celibate and imprison me and put me in a bloody cell. Lock me away in a small room and throw away the key and make me do all the things you want me to do so I can get into bloody union. I don't want that. It's imprisonment. And I also don't like this idea about my soul has decided that I'm going to be with this person and therefore where physically I'm just thinking, nah, you know what, I've seen it, I'm not interested. I want to have freedom. In my soul, if I feel what I want, right now, and let's all do it. Focus on your heart space. What do you desire right now? I desire peace. I desire love. I desire joy and travel and adventure. And I desire sex, and I desire unity and balance and peace. I love to be treated well. I like doors opened, and I like to be my hand held and loads of hugs and kisses, and I like food being prepared for me, and I like conversation that is deep, and I like spirituality, and I like doing divine mission. That is of just being in my light. Not that I need to save anyone, because nothing needs to be saved. The world does not need saving. The Witcher kept saying, I need to save the world. And I'm like, the world doesn't need saving. Everyone has their own karma. Everyone's where they need to be. Just be in your light and allow others to be inspired by that. You don't need to be doing anything or missioning anything, because your purpose can be just, painting or listening to your heart and being free. And by looking at you, people will be like, wow, she's so free, or he's so free, and I want to be free, and I love being in your energy, and I love being happy and joyful. And I love that right now, because that's what I choose right now. And that choice of joy and love will open up the next thing for joy and love, and the next thing for joy and love. And I'm living in my freedom. I'm not focusing on someone else. I'm not focusing on how my actions are going to affect someone else. I'm not focusing on how I need to behave this way so they can do. It's all social conditioning. Haven't we been imprisoned enough? So that's where I want to reside, and that's where I want to live. And if you want to judge me for that, go ahead. But that's your perception. And I want you all to be free, and I want you all to be in love. And if love for you is just being with God, great. But if love for you is being with a soulmate, high-level soulmate, great. Do what you want to do. Live how you want, and fuck everyone else who's going to say that you shouldn't. Anyway, right. Any last questions? Okay. Right. And you know what? I never used to talk about these things. And I know my DM watches my social media, but I used to always think, oh, I can't celebrate my birthday because he's going to be triggered. I can't date anyone else because he's going to be triggered. Or I can't do this or say this because he's going to be triggered. But forget that, because you know what? He lived his life, and he triggered me all the time. I didn't really care. And I've got to live for me. And I'm doing it from a place of love and joy and peace, not focusing on the other. Because I have to live for me. Otherwise, I'll be stuck in this crap for 20 years of like thinking of others and sacrificing. And a lot of us do that, sacrificing and giving away, like the Witcher was as well. All right. I totally understand what you're saying. I get it. I'm at that stage right now too. Be in your natural flow like an ocean. I met one of my followers today, Mexican, amazing energy, such a beautiful energy. And we went for lunch. And she's also at that stage too. And a lot of the DFs are at that stage of like total surrender, in the sense that I'm open, universe. Whatever you think is best for me right now, I'm open to receive. I'm no longer operating from ego and mind and thinking, oh, if I do this, then the DM's going to do this. Forget the DM. Focus on you. It's your life, right? It's your joy. It's your happiness. It's your peace. Live in that. So yeah, that was that. And we'll see what the next life brings up. I have got some things I want to talk about, but for now, I want you to do what your heart sings. I'm traveling. If you want to travel, travel. Don't be stuck in your rooms, in your prisons, in your minds, focused on the obsession. Break free of the labels. Break free of the restrictions. Break free of the dogma and the stories about twin flames and what you got to do and how you got to do, and you've got to jump 50 loops to be able to get into union, and you've got to open an NGO, international UN organization to get into union. No. What you got to do is follow your joy, be happy, and live your life for you. And that's it. Take care. God bless. From Mexico City.